Everyone. Um, Been looking forward to this. Did a lot of prep work for this. It is time for the Nexus Planarverse Open. This is an Age of Fantasy Regiments tournament that I've been looking forward to running, and I'll go through the details here. Before I get into the details, though, I did want to say that Dragon Trappers Lodge has been very generous in sponsoring some of the prize support for this tournament. So I'll get into that prize support there, but I'll run through all these things. But one of the things that they're offering two full army builders of the winner's choice for first place, and second place can get one full army bundle. Now that right there is a really great deal just to get some really great STLs. So I want to really appreciate Dragon Trappers Laws. I want to just give a little shout out to them since they're sponsoring this. If you don't know about Dragon Trappers Laws, these guys are a really great company. They make some of the coolest models out there, not only for D&D, they're also do a lot of OPR support. They're one of the creators they support. They have their own armies. One of the really cool things, and I've actually interviewed them in the past, is they actually, when they create their squads, they create them with every possible combination of upgrades. So that's just like really great. So one thing you can do to support them is you can go on their Patreon here, where they have some memberships, a soldier and a trapper, and then those are basically two distinct tiers. The soldier tier is more for wargaming, while the trapper tier is more for like their RPGs, and then you can get both for the veteran tier at 18. Some of the coolest models that you'll ever see. I'll just go through some of them. I mean, the Crimson Inquisition is their newest one. My personal favorite, and it's something that I want to actually get into myself, is Champions of Critterfolk. So I was a big Redwall reader when I was younger, and this is just really inspired by Redwall. So you can just see some of this stuff. I mean, these models look great. And one of the great things about these models is all of the models, when you get these squads, they can come in all these different possibilities of weapons. So you can have your halberd variants, your sword variants, your axe variants. That's really cool that they offer. A lot of these companies, when they offer these army bundles, sometimes they don't give you every possible combination. And the fact that these guys do is so cool. I mean, again, I'm just a big fan of their Champions of Career Folks. Probably something I'll be getting involved in with them in the future here. But yeah, they have all sorts of great models. Please go check them out. Like I said, they were very generous. I know right now they are offering, they have here, which is a great deal, something I think I may do myself, which is apparently now if you subscribe, you can actually get 50% off, when you join today. So that right there is a great deal where you can basically subscribe and then just save. So you can get some great models at basically 50% off. Definitely worth getting into. Please, go support Dragon Trappers Lodge. They're really cool and really great that they were just such a generous sponsor for this tournament. So thanks again. All right, so let's move on to the tournament details. So this is a tournament that's going to start on August 4th. So I'll be placing this link in the description, but this is where you're going to register. And here you're going to provide your email address, first, last name, your army list name, and also, what planar realm are you from? We aren't just offering this for Earth realm, which is our current realm. But hey, if you're from a different realm, we had a lot of great support for the intergalactic. We had a lot of different galaxies join. So, we're just inviting everyone from the different Planarverse. Hey, come, let us know where you're from. So, what are the tournament details? This is similar to the last one. You're going to play 3 games once per week. It's an online tournament. You need to register the event. You need to submit a 3,000 point army to my email. We're not allowing mixed armies in this tournament. The one thing is that since we are using the Age of Fantasy Massive Battles, since you can combine 3 and 4 copies of a unit, you do need to notate that in the email. The current army builder for OPR just allows you to combine 2 units. So just basically, whenever you send these emails, just tell me what units are combined if it's 3 or 4 units. You need to use either Tabletop Simulator or Universal Battles 2. There's a lot of those are the 2 big ones that I use both when you want to play these games. You also need to, you need to be able to play one game a week. Another thing that you can do, if you can only commit to like one game in August, hey, submit as an alternate. There's times that in this tournament, some people won't be able to get their games in, and we're going to need alternates. So maybe just sign up as an alternate and just help out the tournament just by basically, if someone can't play, hey, you can be an alternate. So, what are the rules for the tournaments? So you need just basically three. There's the Age of Fantasy regiments, and then there's the Massive Battles regiments tweaked. This is in beta right now. Let's just go. So one, well, what the way this works is that it's based off Age of Fantasy regiments. So, just I would say get familiar with the basic mechanics of Age of Fantasy regiments. After that, and so that's sort of the base. And then what the Massive Battles for regiments does is it tweaks it. So I've placed the Massive Battles rules on the second one. I won't go too much into this. I have a full video that discusses these rules, so I won't spend too much time running into it, other than just some broad things. This is going to be for 3,000. You can combine units up to 4, and again, Massive Battles is meant to be played either as stands or just as entire regiments, sort of like Kings of War. Or if you want to play stands, you could play it as like War Master if you think about it. Again, the stand sizes, I'll actually have that in the tournament pack. I've set the stand sizes to certain amounts. There's a few changes. One, like movement is a little different, so make sure you just familiarize yourself with the movement rules. Again, I would encourage you, I have a full video where I discuss these rules in depth, so just kind of go through them. I have examples in each of them, so I'm not going to spend too much time here going through all these things. Just so you know, we are going to be using, there's two different options. One, again, you can play it more as War Master, where you're removing stands, or you can play it as more like a Kings of War side of things, where you're removing entire units. For simplicity's sake, we are going to be playing this as units as a whole. So in other words, the way this is working, you can read it up. It's basically once you, until you kill the entire unit, the unit will stay there. Now, you'll decrease the number of attacks as it starts to sort of lose its stands. We have this here where it's basically you start disabling stands, right? So once you sort of reach the stand's wounds max, that standing is basically no longer to attack. But the actual footprint of the unit stays there until it's completely destroyed. So keep that in mind. Melee, again, I already covered this in the video. So just, but familiarize yourself with these rules. Go watch that video where I have actual examples. One thing as well as this game, the Daemon rule we're doing differently. So I've heard, being a rumor actually, that the Daemon rule is going away and changing. So I think with the September update coming up, I've heard some rumors that they'll be changing that rule. So we'll be doing the Daemon rule of Dill differently. I'm also going to be banning surprise attack just for this tournament as well. So and again, the hero rules are all the same. So I'm not going to spend this time talking about these rules because I have a video already for it. All right, let's get into the actual tournament rules here. So with Age of Fantasy, based off the tournament pack, there's a few things that are changing. One, in the army's guidelines, I'm just banning Ghostly Undead. I think it's just way too powerful of an army, and I don't want, people having to deal with Ghostly Undead, so I'm just banning the army. We've banned some abilities. So one of the things that in this version, since flanks and rears can become so powerful, it basically makes like abilities that spawn or split other units, like into other units, are basically banned. Since what I don't want to do is I don't want to try to change all the existing abilities. I just think these two units, these abilities, along with surprise attack, are just a little too, in a regiment's context, are just too powerful. So I'm just sort of banning them. So you can't use spawn, split abilities, or surprise attack in this tournament. All right, the next big thing that's happening here is limits on scout and ambush. So what's going on here is that these Massive Battles rules are meant to be played as a traditional kind of rank and file game. When we think about like War Master, or we think about Kings of War, or we think about Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer Old World, All these games sort of have a certain way that they're being played. And so with that, I really don't want armies that are going to be all scouting. And again, in my rules, ambush is just basically scout. So there is no ambush in these rules. You're not going to be basically bringing units from behind an army. That's not a traditional rank and file game. So with that, what I've done is I've limited all armies are going to be limited to 4 copies of units with scout or ambush. So that's just here. Again, if heroes have a scout or ambush ability, that counts towards them, even if they're placed inside. Combined units count for the total number of copies. So if you do want to run one big combined unit with scout or ambush, that's going to count for 2 of your copies. And again, heroes that confer scout or ambush, they basically are going to count, and it talks about this, how they'll count towards the scout or ambush count when they activate that unit. Another thing I'm doing is that since the daemon rule looks like it's going to be changing, I'm going to go ahead and just say it this way, basically. Daemons, if you're playing the Rift Daemons, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to give you 5% back on your points. And with that, so you're going to get 150 extra points if you play as an all-daemon army, but you can only scout up 4 of your units. So I think that gives daemons a little bit of flexibility in that they'll be able to choose which 4 units. And again, we're talking about 4 copies of units that they can scout up. But at the same time, the rest of their army can't do anything else. And so I'm just basically, I did the calculations in the Army Forge, and I found out that about 5% is going to be pretty good. Now, like I said, from what I understand, Daemon rule is going to be changing anyway, so I'm not really stressed about supporting a rule that's probably going to be changing anyway. All right. One of the other things that I've changed is I'm actually adding in a new thing. If multiple players are tied, so the tournament points work the same. If you win, you get 3 tournament points. If you tie, you get 1. Losing, get nothing. But every time you play a game, you have to record the victory points that you score. And basically, if 2 people end up, let's just say 3-0, then the number of victory points they scored throughout the tournament is going to be the tiebreaker. So that's just a way. Again, I think that's a pretty relatively fair way to do that. The other thing I've done here is I've set the base sizes. So here it's going to be based off a rule where, again, this is going back into line of sight. With using a hybrid line of sight, every model is going to be assigned a size value based on their tough. So small models have no tough or heroes with tough 3. Medium are tough 3, heroes with tough 6. Large, tough 6 to tough 12. Huge and titanic. So with these, again, these are size values that are set based off the tough. Then, based off that size value, this is going to be your base size. Single models are 25 by 25. 5-man stands are going to be, you could just sort of follow here. With the 40-mans, you can split them up into sort of a 5 by, so again, sort of a 5 by 8, or you can go a 10 by 4. So, but these are letting you know the exact sizes. Same things with tough 3 units. You can either have a 6 by 3 or a 3 by 6. So that's going to kind of help you out there as well. All right. Going through here. Yeah. I'm sorry, a 3 by 6 or a 6 by 2. Excuse me. And then large models, 75. I'm allowing either to just be 75 by 75 or 150 by 100. And then huge and titanic here. So, and again, just to let you know, hey, base sizes aren't removed until the unit's been destroyed. And again, this is the same rules when a base is removed, the character inside is placed per the rules. All right, let's go through the scenarios. So the scenario 1 is the exact scenario from the current tournament pack, where what happens is that you're going to be setting 3 objectives in the center. And the scoring, we've removed progressive. There's no more progressive scoring in this tournament. It's just scoring at the end of the game. So you're going to get 1 for each objective you control, and you get an extra 1 if you've seized more objectives than your opponent in the last turn. So if anyone's played the tournament, this is basically an exact copy of the first scenario. I've also removed, there's no special rules and there's no alternate rules in this game. It's all base OPR. So scenario 2, how does this work? All right, the way this works is you're going to set one objective in the very center of the board. And just so you know, all the deployments are going to be the same. They're all going to be long deployment cells for both. So you set up one marker in the center of the board. And how does it score? At the end of the game, players score 2 victory points for controlling the center objective. They score 1 victory point for each table quarter that they have more units in. So you can see here that the table is split into 4 quarters. And if you have more units than your opponent in one of these table quarters, you're going to gain 1 victory point. Just so, like I said, I note here that a unit can't. A unit is basically has to have the majority of their base in. They also can't. They can't count for more than 1 table quarter. If you have a unit that's sort of equally in the center of 2 table quarters, or even like 4, you can pick. But basically, units can't score for multiple table quarters. And so that's going to generally provide, I feel, a pretty balanced scenario for regiments. For scenario 3, the way it works is it's going to be, so what's going to happen is that before each player is going to place one objective fully on their opponent's side of the board. So if you set up in zone A, you have to place one of your objectives somewhere either in zone B or right above in the green, and zone B would place it in the red. So again, you place one objective on your opponent's side and your opponent does the same. How do you win the game? You gain 2 victory points if you control the objective on your opponent's side of the board. You gain 1 victory point if you control your objective on your side of the one that your opponent placed. And finally, players get 2 victory points if you have more units in your opponent's deployment zone than their opponent. So you grab the objectives, but also if you can get more units in your opponent's deployment zone, then that's going to give you 2 extra victory points. So all 3 of these scenarios again are going to have the standard long deployment, 12 inches up, just for both. So that I wanted to keep the scenarios and deployment relatively simple since we do have a lot going on here. All right, let's just go into that's just the rules for the tournament here. Let's go into the schedule. So again, you need to submit your army by July 25th. I'll be doing a video where I go into analysis. The first game is going to go from the 4th to the 10th. That's generally a Monday to Saturday. I think a Sunday, actually, excuse me. But basically by Sunday evening, you need to have these submitted to me. If you or your opponent can't set up a game by Thursday, you need to let me know so we can set up an alternative. Again, and we'd love to get a few people who set up who play as alternates. That can really help us out. Life happens. Prizes. All right, per the tournament guidelines, any ties will be multiple winners. Awards will be given to the 3 players, which is going to be shirts. Also, again, we talked about before, first place is going to receive 2 full army bundles, which is like a really great deal. Second place is going to receive 1 full army bundle. Okay, for second and third, we'll get a custom t-shirt mailed to them. Again, I can really only send out 3, but if you do, that being said, if you are second and third, you can choose to purchase a t-shirt. So like I know a couple people who were like second and third place, they chose to purchase a t-shirt, which is fine. I think it comes out to like $20. I found out that shipping is generally the same, but just in case you live somewhere strange, it may cost a little extra. But I think I've checked out the shipping from last term. It's about $20. All right, again, there's no fee required, but just contributing a couple of dollars to my coffee would be great. You can also, I've set up a merch shop, so if you want to purchase some tournament t-shirts or a mug, I'm going to be adding some stuff. That's a great way to sort of support, prize support for the tournament and sending out and mailing these t-shirts as well. All right, so that is it. Please let me know, and I look forward to you joining and having a blast with this thing.